The proposal wasn't grand. There was no audience, no fireworks, just a man on one knee in their dimly lit kitchen, holding out a velvet box with shaking fingers. Inside it, a ring, modest but elegant, much like the man himself. Lena stared at it, heart pounding. It was everything she said she wanted. A man who loved her. A life that looked like stability. The kind of promise every little girl was taught to dream about. But Lena had never been that girl. Still, she said yes. Ethan was dependable. A software engineer with kind eyes and quiet hands. He believed in traditions, Sunday dinners, holiday cards, and giving his bride the final say on the floral arrangements. He was gentle, in the way men rarely were. He listened, he asked, and he adored her. But Lena didn't fit the mold of the woman he was raised to marry. Her past was louder. She'd run her own marketing firm since she was 26. She was used to being the boss in boardrooms, in relationships, in her life. The ring symbolized love. But to Lena, it also whispered expectations, his. Once we're married, maybe you'll finally slow down, he once said softly, his hand brushing her hair. That stuck with her. Ethan wanted a wife who'd bake with his mother, who'd consider scaling back to part-time when children came. Lena wanted none of that. She wanted to build empires, not casseroles. Still, she planned the wedding. She wore the dress. She stood beneath a wooden arch on a rainy afternoon and said, "I do." But after the honeymoon glow faded, the tension began. She came home late from meetings, high on ideas and adrenaline. He waited up, dinner cold, words colder. "Lena," he'd said one night, "it's not just about your world anymore. You're my wife now. We should be building a life together." "We are," she replied. "But why does building it your way feel like the only version that counts?" She never said it to hurt him, but he was hurt all the same. They tried. Therapy. Compromise. The push and pull of two people who loved each other, but couldn't agree on what love looked like. Ethan brought up kids. Lena brought up her company's upcoming expansion into Europe. Then one evening, after another quiet dinner filled with strained smiles, Lena placed a ring on the table. "I wear your ring," she said, "but I feel like I'm not allowed to be me anymore. That wasn't part of the deal." His face fell. "So, what are you saying?" "I'm saying I want this marriage, but I won't disappear inside it. If we're going to do this, really do it, then it has to be on our terms. Not just yours. Not just mine. Ours. But that starts with you seeing that my ambition isn't a threat. It's part of who I am." Ethan was quiet for a long time. Then he said something she didn't expect. "I didn't fall in love with you to change you. I fell in love with the fire. I just didn't know how to stand in it without getting burned." They recommitted, not with a new wedding, but with a new set of rules. Her rules. His. Both of theirs. She kept her company. He learned to be proud of her spotlight, even if he wasn't always in it. She learned to listen when his silence wasn't just about her schedule, but about loneliness. They built something different. It wasn't always balanced. Some days she gave more. Other days he did. But the ring stayed on, not as a symbol of ownership, but as a partnership forged in truth. Because in the end, it wasn't just his ring or her rules. It was their love. And it finally made sense. 6 months into their renewed commitment. Lena stood in front of 100 strangers in Paris, her voice commanding, her energy electric. She was opening her firm's European headquarters. Cameras clicked. Applause echoed. Her dream was real. Back in New York, Ethan watched the live stream. His heart swelled with pride, then dipped with distance. The time zones, the flights, the empty bed. She was soaring, but sometimes he felt like a shadow of her life. When Lena came home a week later, he greeted her with flowers and wine, but not the warmth she expected. "You're quiet," she said, toeing off her heels. He hesitated. "I'm proud of you. Truly. But sometimes I wonder, is there room for me in all of this?" Lena sighed, pressing her forehead to his chest. "There's always room for you. But I won't shrink to make you comfortable." "I'm not asking you to shrink," he said gently. "I'm asking to be seen, to be chosen to." That night, they talked until dawn, about schedules, about kids, if they wanted them, how they'd raise them. about love that didn't look like fairy tales, but did look like two people choosing each other every day, even when it was hard. They decided to start small. He joined her in Paris for a month. She turned down a couple of red-eye meetings to have long breakfast with him on the balcony. It wasn't balance, not really, but it was effort, and effort meant everything. Then came the invitation that would test him again, a TED Talk in Tokyo. A huge opportunity. It fell during their anniversary week. Ethan smiled when she showed him the invite, but Lena could see it, the flicker of hurt. "You wanted to skip it," she said. "No," he replied. "I want you to want to stay." She stared at the invite, then back at the man who had never once tried to dull her spark. Not truly. He had only wanted a piece of her light for himself. So she made a decision. "I'll go," she said, "but I'll fly back the same night. I'll be here for our anniversary dinner. No press. No calls. Just us." "You do that." "For us?" "Every time." Their anniversary came. She arrived late, tired but smiling. He'd cooked. Candles flickered. She slipped off her heels and collapsed into his arms. "This is the best part," she whispered, kissing his neck. "Coming home to someone who gets it." He took her hand, ran his fingers over the ring he'd given her over a year ago. "I gave you the ring," he said, "but you gave this marriage its heartbeat." They clinked glasses. No titles, no speeches. Just two people, imperfect but trying, fiercely in love. Because the ring may have been his, but the rules? They wrote them together. 2 years into their marriage, Lena's face graced the covers of business magazines. She was listed among Forbes' top 50 women to watch. Ethan, still soft-spoken and grounded, had quietly built his own software startup. Something he'd started after Lena encouraged him to stop playing small. They were thriving, or so it seemed. One night, Ethan received an anonymous email. "Your wife isn't just working late in Rome. She's working someone over." Attached, a grainy photo of Lena with her European lead investor, Marco Valentini, tall, charming, and way too close in that image. Ethan's hand trembled, but he didn't panic. He didn't confront her with rage. He waited. That weekend, Lena returned home, her voice bright with stories from the trip. Ethan listened quietly until she mentioned Marco. "That guy in the photo," he said, calmly placing the printed picture on the table. "Is he your partner in business or something else?" Lena's face fell. She sat slowly. "I knew someone would try to twist that. So tell me the truth." She took a breath. "Marco did try something. I shut it down immediately. But yes, we had dinner. Just us. It was a celebration. I didn't tell you because I thought it might look bad. I was trying to protect what we've built." Ethan stared at her. "You kept it from me because you didn't trust me to believe in you. I didn't want to risk losing you, Ethan. Not over nothing." "It's not nothing if you hide it," he replied. Silence. For the first time since their wedding, Lena felt uncertain. She had always been in control of rooms, of narratives, of expectations. But this was the one space where control meant nothing. This was love. This was fragile. "I've made my rules clear," she said finally, "but I'm not above them. I won't make you doubt your worth. Not for business, not for anyone." Ethan looked at her for a long moment. Then he said quietly, "I don't want a marriage where I have to question your loyalty every time you go abroad. And I don't want a marriage where I feel I have to lie to protect your ego." She snapped, then instantly regretted it. He stood up. "This was never about ego. This was about honesty. I'm not asking you to dim your light, Lena, but if I can't trust where that light shines when I'm not around, then what are we even doing?" He walked out that night, not out of hatred, but heartbreak. For a week, they didn't speak. On the 8th day, Lena showed up at his office. No entourage. No lipstick, just Lena. She placed her wedding ring on his desk. "This ring was yours. The rules were mine." But maybe that was the problem. We each clung too tightly to what was ours. So now, if we're going to continue, everything has to be ours. The wins, the wounds, the rebuilding. Ethan looked at the ring, then at her. "Can you rebuild something that's cracked at the foundation?" She took his hand, steady and sincere. "Yes, but only if we pour truth into the cracks. And this time, no rules, just vows. They didn't go back to what they were. They built something new, more honest, less perfect, real. And this time, when Ethan placed the ring back on her finger, he whispered, "Not mine, not yours, ours." The end. Would you like a spin-off where Marco becomes more involved, or one from Ethan's point of view, perhaps titled Her Rules, His Reckoning?